Students, welcome to another Mr. Ness screencast. Today's aim is geography and economics in the 13 colonies. You have no vocab words to copy for this video, but pause the video, look these objectives over, and get ready to take some notes. In the last video, you learned about the 13 colonies that England controlled along the east coast of North America, and today we're going to look at those colonies in more detail. First, we grouped the 13 colonies into 3 geographic regions: the New England colonies, the Middle colonies, and the Southern colonies. And we grouped them this way because the colonies in each of these regions shared specific characteristics. For the rest of this video, I want you to focus on the geographic and economic characteristics that the colonies in each region shared. When I say geographic characteristics, I mean things that are related to the land and the climate or weather. Economic characteristics means things related to making money. In other words, what types of work were the most common jobs in each region? Geography and economics are related to each other because geography affected economics. Each region's land and weather impacted which natural resources were available there. And since colonists were mainly making money off of natural resources, the colonists in each region made money in different ways. These differences are important because they caused each colony to develop differently in ways that would have huge impacts on the course of US history. And even today, these different parts of the United States are different in many ways. So let's look at each of the 3 regions in more detail. The New England colonies, which are shown on this map in pink, included New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. As you can see, the New England colonies are the farthest north. We call this whole region New England. In terms of geography, the New England colonies are cold. Winters are long, which means there's not a lot of time to grow crops. And we call that a short growing season. Also, soil in New England tends to be full of rocks, which makes it difficult to grow crops. So in general, it was pretty hard to grow things in New England. On the other hand, there were a lot of forests, lots of fast-moving rivers, and excellent ports for ships to sail in and out of. Economically, colonists in New England did have farms because they needed food. But because it was hard to grow crops, the farms tended to be small. And instead, colonists supplemented their living by using wood to build ships, fishing and whaling in the Atlantic Ocean, and manufacturing. That means turning natural resources into finished goods in factories and in workshops. Finally, there were a lot of merchants in New England who shipped natural resources and finished goods across the ocean to England. Pause for a second and take a look at this image of colonial Massachusetts. Which of the geographic characteristics can you identify in this image? Which of the economic characteristics do you see? All right, now let's look at the middle colonies, which are shown in tan, kind of a light yellow on this map. The middle colonies include New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. The middle colonies were not as cold as New England. They had what's called a moderate climate, not too hot, not too cold. Think about the weather that you know here in New York. That's what I mean when I say moderate. The soil in the middle colonies was pretty good for growing crops. As a result, the middle colonies became the main center in British North America for growing wheat, which was used to make bread. Sometimes people called the middle colonies the breadbasket of colonial America because so much wheat was grown there. there was also some manufacturing in cities like New York and Philadelphia. Here is a picture of colonial Pennsylvania. What can you see here that reflects the region's geographic features and its economic features? All right, the last group is called the Southern Colonies, and they're shown on the map in orange. They included Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. If you've ever been to the southern United States, you probably know that it's hot and humid for a lot of the year. Unlike New England, the southern colonies had a long growing season. It was so warm there that farmers could grow crops pretty much all year round. Also, unlike New England, southern colonies had really good soil. So this was a great place for growing crops. And the main economic activity in the South was growing special crops called cash crops that could be sold for a lot of money. Cash crops were often grown on large commercial farms called plantations, usually worked by slaves taken from West Africa. You will learn more about cash crops and plantations and slavery in the next lesson. So, the South had lots of plantations where cash crops were grown. Pause for a second and study this picture of colonial Virginia. Which geographic and economic characteristics can you see in this picture? All right, it's time to review the objectives. Oops, where are they? Let me go back. Here they are. If you missed any of these, just pause the video and look again. And I'll see you in class. Bye, students.